Voters in Massachusetts will not only be casting ballots for president, they'll decide on two ballot questions. Question 1 on the right to repair and question 2 on ranked choice voting. Earlier this month, we brought you interviews on both sides of question 1. Tonight, we examine question 2, ranked choice voting, which would give voters the option to rank candidates in order of preference. If no one candidate gets more than 50% of the initial vote, then votes are counted in a series of rounds until one candidate attains a majority. Speaking in favor of ranked choice voting is Harvard University professor Danielle Allen, honorary co-chair of the Yes on 2 campaign.
Proposition 2 recommends that we change from our current method, which is called plurality voting, to a ranked choice voting method for state level elections and offices, including Congress, not including the presidency, not including municipal elections. So what's plurality voting? What's ranked choice voting? Plurality voting is just when whoever has the most votes in a first round of voting wins the election, but that can mean that a person wins without a majority. So for example, in the recent Congressional District 4 elections, there were many candidates in the field and the winning candidate won with roughly 22-23% of the vote. That was sometimes called first past the post. I've never understood that phrase. In ranked choice voting, voters rank their choices. So if there's a crowded field, 6 or 7 candidates, you indicate your first choice, second choice, third choice, and so forth. There's no requirement to rank anybody. So if you absolutely can't stand a candidate, you shouldn't rank them at all. But then after a first round of voting, if nobody has a majority, whoever came in last, all of the people who voted for them, their votes get redistributed to their second choices. So it's like every candidate's got a heap of votes and you keep piling votes on with multiple rounds until somebody gets past 50%. So every election is therefore then won with a majority of support. That's the critical difference with ranked choice voting.
Professor Allen, can you tell us where ranked choice voting is currently being used and how has it gone?
So ranked choice voting is being used in a number of places at different levels. So Maine is using it throughout their electoral system. New York City is about to start using ranked choice voting for their municipal elections. Ranked choice voting has been operating in Minneapolis for a number of years now, I think almost a decade. In the Bay Area, there are many municipalities that use ranked choice voting. And as it happens, it may be that one of the longest examples is here in Massachusetts, Cambridge, Massachusetts, which has been using ranked choice voting in city elections for almost a century.
Can you tell us who is supporting ranked choice voting, for example, here in Massachusetts? Who's behind this effort?
So there's a campaign called Yes on 2, and the co-chairs include myself and our former governors from both parties, Governor Weld and Governor Patrick, for example. Also the head of the NAACP in Boston, Tanisha Sullivan. Amplify Latinx is an endorser. So too are most members of Massachusetts congressional delegation. So our senators are both endorsers of ranked choice voting. Many of our members of Congress are. And even people, for example, like Jake Auchincloss, who was the victor in CD4 that I mentioned, who won with just 23% of the vote, is an endorser of ranked choice voting.
There are a couple of governors, former Governor Jerry Brown in California and Governor Gavin Newsom now, who are opposed to ranked choice voting. They called it, I believe, confusing and complicated. How do you answer that kind of response in terms of getting your message through?
Sure. It's really important to understand that they're making that decision in California in a context where California has already moved past plurality voting, okay? So in other words, California has thought about 2 different ways of addressing the problems of plurality voting. And again, to repeat, the problem with plurality voting is that sometimes people are said to win an election when they haven't even gotten to a majority. So in California, the solution they used was to transition to open primaries, so not party-based primaries. And they take the top 2 vote getters from a first round of voting and they have a runoff, okay? So California is using an open primary, top 2 vote getters and runoff method to achieve the same kind of outcome that we're arguing for with ranked choice voting.
How do you convince those voters who just don't like change? When you see a ballot question, some people just automatically think, no, I'm going to keep the status quo the way it is now. I know the system, I know how it works and so forth. How do you move them from that position to voting yes on question 2?
Well, you know, the truth of the matter is, I think we're actually all pretty frustrated with the status quo. Our status quo is political institutions that aren't responsive and that leave people feeling disempowered and as if their voices haven't been heard. That's the actual status quo. So why do people feel disempowered? Why do people feel like their voices aren't heard? Well, when you have elections that are won without 50% of the vote, that's a reason people feel that way. Our political institutions are not responsive because of the gridlock that comes from polarization. And one of the features of ranked choice voting that's really, really important is that it actually incentivizes candidates to campaign to the center, to campaign to the moderate place. When you have our plurality system, it's very easy for people who hold more extreme positions to get in to office. So ranked choice voting actually brings a moderating element that helps people campaign as problem solvers, trying to build big coalitions in the center of the electorate. So that is incredibly important for restoring political institutions that are responsive to the needs of the people.